Back in 2013, Mazen, the Moroccan Renewable Energy Agency, contracted with a consortium that we were privileged to lead, the Noor 1 project, a 160 megawatt CSP with 3 hours of storage. So basically a plant that can deliver electricity during the day and on into 3 hours into the night. A contract for 25 years. The required investment of just under $1 billion is being funded with 20% equity and 80% debt. In the equity, 25% of the equity is coming from Mazen, and the 75% is coming from the private sector consortium. Now, but the entire debt package, which is about $800 million, is coming from Mazen, who are in turn accessing it from CIF and a complement of IFIs. Again, just like Mufada explained, CIF funding leveraging up very significantly, scaling up there. Now, back in 2013, just bear in mind that CSP technology was only deployed for about 1,600 megawatts of operating assets in the world, just 1.6 gigawatts. So this 160 megawatt plant was going to add effectively 10% to the global installed capacity of CSP. Now, as it happened, well, in my view, and I'll explain why, we think that this project would never have happened if it had not had the input of CIF-led IFI basket of financing. As it happened, Mazen elected very wisely to undertake a transparent competitive procurement process rather than a feed-in tariff structure or predetermined tariff to be published for participants to respond to. And this transparent competitive process delivered an 18.9 US cents per kilowatt hour tariff. Now, which at that time was a stunningly low number because the number that was known as for CSP technology up to that, the lowest that was known was about 30 euro cents. So in this one project, CSP tariff came down to 18.9 US cents. But the important point to, I think, understand is that, okay, so if this project had not had CIF and IFI financing, what else could we have done? Now, so we had done the simulation. If indeed we were able to attract $800 million, which is a lot of money, into this first project in Morocco, which was going to add 10% to the capacity of CSP in the world. So if indeed we were able to attract that amount of liquidity from the private market, we looked at and we modeled on what basis we could have attracted it. So that's a theoretical if already. And most optimistically, we feel that that 18.9 cents would have ended up being 25 cents per kilowatt hour. Lots of optimism. So in simple terms, CIF and IFI funding helped to deliver a 25% at a minimum lower tariff by effectively discounting the price of debt, delivering a longer tenor, so effectively buying down risk, if you like, and equally importantly, making available the liquidity, which, as I said, I don't think we will be able to get otherwise. But actually, the concession financing, in our view, achieved a lot more. So for Morocco, whose alternative option to generate this 160 megawatts would have been coal or gas, then what everything else. So, what do you think? At best, maybe 8 cents per kilowatt hour using coal or gas. So, without the IFI financing, CIF financing, they would have ended up with a 25 cents tariff versus the alternative of 8 cents, 2.5 times more. Well, I think it would have been very, very difficult for Morocco to have internally justified that level of difference for 25 years. But even if Morocco had accepted that in their desire to reduce carbon emissions and fulfill their global responsibility, I can assure you we as a private sector investor would never have stepped into this project simply because regardless of how honorable the off-taker is and how robust the contract is, we get our money back over 25 years, and that tariff would have had to have been sustained for 25 years. That's a very long time. So the financing provided by CIF and the IFIs who supported, who leveraged up, delivered quite a significant value there. We have then gone on, or Morocco has then gone on to procure Noor 2 and Noor 3. Noor 2 is a very comparable project. It's a trough, again, same trough technology, but it's slightly bigger, 250 megawatts, that achieved financial close actually 2 weeks ago, with double the storage period. And again, with 80% of the project cost being funded with concessional financing. We have managed to bring the tariff down now to a levelized tariff of 16.57 cents. So that's a 15% lower just in 20 odd months. But again, if we had not used CIF financing and had to resort to commercial financing, at best we could have delivered a 22 cents per kilowatt hour tariff. So 50% more than what we were able to achieve with the CIF funding. So particularly for those technologies which have not yet been deployed at a vast scale, but are extremely useful, like CSP, as opposed to those that have already been deployed at a vast scale, like PV, and thus have a very broad and deep supply chain, and have benefited from enormous amounts of investment in innovation. I think we desperately continue to need concessional financing to get deployment at a scale moving, to then in turn offer motivation for investment in innovation and get more participants to come into the supply chain and keep reducing the cost.